Hey y'all, this is Reatha.
Hey, this is Deandra, and you are now listening to.
Coffee, Heels, and Conversation podcast.
So grab your coffee and listen in. Hey, y'all. Hey, how
Hey
y'all
people.
be?
Hey guys.
Welcome back to another episode of the pod. Thank y'all so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Yes.
So as y'all know, we're gonna get right into the church announcements, which is what we drinking. Today, I finally got my oat milk creamer back.
Hey.
So I've been trying this new one called dang it, what is the name? It's like it's not but I want to say nut and bakery. I forgot what it's called. But whatever it is, it's like it's like one of those that is only the ingredients. So it's like only maple, only walnut. So I said
Oh.
oat milk, but the one that I got is a walnut creamer. So it's
hmm
walnut, maple, and like sugar or something like that.
Oh
And
wow, that's
but
cool.
it's really
All
good.
the extra stuff.
Right? It's not really fancy. When I got it, I was like, obviously, I need this. So it's really good. And then that with the maple coffee, bomb, great
Mm.
combination. So what you got today, girl?
I got my Dunkin' Donuts caramel with some oat milk creamer. Quite
Okay.
yummy.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds good. But all right, so today for our trending topic, I feel like we all saw this at least once on the social
Yeah.
medias.
Yeah.
Apparently, all right, and also I don't know all the background, but I do
hmm
know that it was T.I., Tiny, King, and then a bunch of other people. And I'm assuming they were
Yeah.
I feel like they were at a game or something like that, possibly. And I guess from what I see, things started as a joke. They were joking about like I'm assuming they were joking about like everybody being kind of like from the hood or whatever, whatever. And King kind of implied that he was from the hood too, and then T.I. was kind of like, "No, you're not." This is my interpretation. I really know,
hmm
but King basically was saying that he stayed with his grandmother, who apparently stayed in the hood. I'm assuming from what he's saying that,
hmm
and then he was kind of like basically saying, kind of getting like, I don't know. I don't know if you're trying to say he was tough, like like I'm hood, like don't act like I'm not, like And then basically
Yeah.
Ti was, I remember, I do know Ti was like, you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth, and he was like, no, I did, I was in the hood, and it's like, okay. So apparently that actually turned into a physical fight, which
Mhm.
oh okay, I didn't know we was out here fighting our parents, but do what you want.
Girl.
So yeah, I just thought it was a lot. Now I will say I was unexpected. I didn't expect that. I didn't know King was like that. Like King was the last one I thought was gonna be like that, but King is apparently trying to be out here. He about it.
Or he wants to be about it.
I
Because
yeah.
I feel like your parents have been famous almost my whole life, especially your mama.
Right. Right.
And I don't understand. I don't get it. And I guess I don't get it because I actually did grow up in the hood. What is like why are people trying to glorify like growing up in the hood or not in the hood, like growing up certain ways? It's like, why can't you just be who you are?
Right.
Why do you have to like have this desire to identify with something that legit like you don't really relate to like that?
Right.
And yeah, he was with his grandmother, but like some of the stuff that I've seen is like they sent him there because he wanted to go there.
Yeah.
So it's like ain't like they just threw you away and put you over there. You
Right.
wanted to go. I just don't get like wanting to identify with something that's not you.
Yeah.
I
And
don't get it.
I feel like it's because I feel like a part of it is because Ti is actually from the hood. So
hmm
like there's a lot of respect that Ti gets that maybe King also wants. And I also
hmm
feel like a lot of the kids, well the oldest kids are saying the same thing. Like they all stayed with their grandmother. Like they were at the house for the show, but they in reality weren't always at the house, that they were always with their grandmother. So I guess that's a part of like being like, basically being with my grandmother kind of made me who I am and whatever, whatever. And apparently the grandmother stayed in the hood, but I I don't know. Like I'm a little confused. For one, you try to fight your father, like physically fight your father. Why would you do that? Just because and then like I feel like there was one what did he was something he kept saying, like I can't remember, but it was something that he
No
kept
business,
saying.
no business.
uh, besides that, because what the heck does that have to do with anything?
Right.
It was something else that I was just like, I guess he was trying to say like, don't try to like. I guess it was almost like a don't play me. Like I'm about it. I'm whoever I am. I'm just a little confused. But I guess because I do know that King wants to be a rapper, so I guess
Mhm,
not even I guess I know there is like a certain like you got to be tough, you got to be hood, you got to be gangster, you got to be all these things to
mhm.
be a successful rapper, probably in his eyes, because one his
Like,
father is
yeah,
like that, like that's how his father is. But I will
yeah.
say, even with that fight, Ti don't play about King because Atlanta club used them on a flyer saying that they were going to be there and T.I. pulled up to the club and was like, you know, he's like, don't mention me and mine. Don't lie on us. Don't try to say we're going to be here when we're not going to be here. He was like, he
Mhm.
said, and don't play with me in this city. And
No, and don't
pulled
play with
up
him in
with
Atlanta
people.
too. That was dumb.
And people in the comments that I saw talking about, they were like, one thing that people, they was like, obviously the promoter is not from Atlanta because everybody know, don't do that. Don't put T.I. on a flyer when you
Yeah.
know he's not going to be there. And he was like, I think I remember him saying like, don't. He was like, nobody's getting no drinks, nobody's getting no beers, nobody's getting nothing. He's like, if I'm gonna be here, it's gonna be everything. He was like, don't play with me. And I was like, so even after that, it was like, don't try to use me and my son to get people to come here. We not really
Yeah.
gonna be here. So that was
Yeah.
interesting. But I do appreciate the fact that even he even posted a video later of them doing a podcast together or something they're doing together. And he was like, anyway, we off that. It's about me
Oh,
and
yeah.
mine. So it was
That's
kind of
good.
like y'all focus on the wrong things right now. This is a one time
Yeah.
thing.
That's good that they were able to, like, work through that 'cause, I mean, some fighting your parents, I mean, sometimes you be wanting to, but, like, to actually do it,
So
like,
actually attempt. Okay.
you actually try to do it,
Yeah.
kinda crazy. But, yeah, I get it, like, the rap that the industry pushes
Hmm.
is that type of rap, but it's like, that's not all that we are. That's not
Yeah.
all that Black people are. That's not all that rappers are. There's some rappers who ain't even like, unfortunately, because of how the industry is, they're not mainstream, but they're doing what they gotta do.
Mhm.
They're still
Yeah.
doing their thing. But that's just interesting. And I
Yeah.
think too, the other part of it is like when you're growing up, you have your own perspective and your
Mhm.
parents have their perspective. And sometimes them perspectives collide because they don't go together.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel that.
that was quite interesting.
It was. I was still confused, but I'm glad they got each other back though. I'm glad T.I.
Yeah.
got his back, Tiny got his back, and great,
Mhm.
wonderful. So speaking of the Harris kids, which I know they're not all Harris, I know Zanika's not a Harris, but she is a part of I believe, the three oldest of T.I. and Tiny's kids combined. So Damani, um, Zanik, and King. They all have like a sibling dynamic. So like I feel like they all have their perspective of what happened when they grew up, which one thing they do agree on is the whole grandmother thing. But I would think it would be interesting to kind of like talk about sibling dynamics, period. Like
Mhm.
they are
Yeah.
they have their dynamics. I do feel like in each interview they had each other's back. So like when I heard Zanik talk, she didn't talk trash about King or Damani. She's kind of like, he's just saying what we've been saying. Same thing with Damani. Damani's like, Damani said, I told him this already, so I'm not saying nothing new. Like he's saying what we're saying, but he's saying it in the wrong way. So they all had each other's
Mhm.
back in that, like, like they are still siblings. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to bash you on the radio. Like we gonna talk about it later at home, but I got you in
Yeah.
public. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I want us to talk about like just sibling dynamics or, like the responsibility put on each tier of siblings if we know what that is.
Mhm.
And then kind of go from there. I know, Reatha, your story is a little different because you are
Mhm.
only child.
Yep.
So that dynamic is different because the dynamic is kind of like just you and your parents. So that's
Yeah.
a whole different
Mhm.
um arena that I know nothing about. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I have that buffer of it's me and my siblings too. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that and kind of like just, kind of have that conversation. Okay, so for me, I am the oldest girl. Um, and I have an older brother. So, but I still feel like in general, I'm the oldest because my brother kind of moved out when I was well, I don't know how old he was, how old I was when he moved out. But he moved out a little like so there's a part of our life that he didn't really live with us. So I was like the oldest child. Um, and I feel like my parents are aware of this. I
Yeah.
feel like we are all aware that I got the rules the hardest. Like I was the one that had to take all the rules, and I was they like my parents were strict with me. It was like, no, no,
Mhm.
you can't do that. You want to go where? They can come over here. You can go over there. And I'm like, why? I don't. I
Mhm,
just, you know.
mhm,
So I had this responsibility of just being like, I had to follow the rules because the rules were put on me. And I
mhm,
knew, I feel like even though it wasn't a conscious knowing, I feel like subconsciously I knew that if I break this rule, I mess it up for all of them. Like I mess it up for the rest of my siblings. Because if I mess it up, they're gonna be like, well, now
mhm.
nobody can do it. So that's that, you know? So that was hard. But I didn't realize it was hard till like now. So I got older and I was like, oh, that's kind of. And then you realize how when you're older you realize your parents can't treat each sibling the same because each
Mhm.
sibling learns differently.
Yeah,
But to me, at a younger age, that was unfair.
yeah,
Like, that was like, that's not fair because if I want this and y'all tell me no, but then my brother asked for it, y'all tell him yes. So what's the difference between us? The same thing, but
yeah.
each child learns differently, right? So for me, being the oldest, it was fun, but it also was hard. And then it was like I said, it was annoying because it's like now when I get older, I'm older watching y'all get stuff that I already asked for, and they'd be like, no. Or like knowing that certain siblings get away with certain stuff, and I could never get away with that because I was the oldest, or like I said, the oldest girl. Like, and I'd be like, I think I did ask my mom one time, like, why was my other siblings able to get away with it? My mom was like, "Girl, I was tired. Okay, I was tired." Now I don't know why she be acting like she's 80 years old because she's not at all. But why it was a funny like, that was a funny moment, but I was like, "Whatever." Like, I feel like we all shoulda got, like, no, no, it should have been no for everybody, not just no for me. So, yeah, that's my little rant about being the oldest girl.
That's funny. I've heard that, like, where parents like, "Well, I was just tired," 'cause especially when they have more than of course, more than one,
Mhm.
they do be tired. Of course, my story is different. I feel like being because okay, so either way it goes, I would have been the oldest, and I feel like the first child always gets, like, the brunt of everything.
Mhm.
One, because I think that, parents are trying to figure it out. They're trying to because there's really no they try to say there's a rule book. There really is no rule book on how to
Oh,
raise
yeah,
a child.
no. Mm-mm.
And so you kinda get the brunt of wherever your parents are at and whatever things are going through in their lives or whatever their trauma is or whatever. I will say that when I was a kid, I hated it because, like, you wanna have somebody else to talk to, somebody else to play with,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, it's like my friends became everything for me because,
Mhm.
like, literally just me, right?
Yeah.
Um, Fast forward to getting older, of course, I'm used to it, I'm cool with it, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's just different when you're older. But girl, when I was younger, girl, I had imaginary friends, and I'm just like, "This is lonely. It's just me." I would be playing on top of myself or whatever, playing on top of myself or whatever, because it's just like, of course, my parents had to work and stuff and things like that, and there's different things. So it was just like, this is boring and
Right.
and I hate it, and this sucks. Like, but it's like, and then it's like the other thing I can't stand is like all the stereotypes of only children. Oh, you. The minute I would hate this, especially when I was younger. Oh, you must. I know you spoiled. And I'm like, first of all, my parents wasn't spoiling nobody.
Right.
Okay. They purposely did not spoil me. The spoiling I got was from my grandmother and my auntie. My parents were like, we ain't having that. You know, they're like, and I have friends, and I know that they didn't mean it bad, But I would have friends that would say, "Girl, I be forgetting you an only child," because I'm like, I'm not what they consider the stereotypical only child. I'm like, y'all gotta stop assuming that
Yeah.
about only child. Okay?
Mhm.
You gotta stop assuming stuff because family dynamics can change that. It's not the same for just like it's not the same for everybody who has siblings. Like some people who have siblings, they can't stand their siblings
True. Yeah.
and they don't talk to their siblings.
Mhm.
It's not because I could assume, oh, everybody with siblings is close. That's not true.
Yeah.
So if that's not true, everybody who was an only child is not spoiled. I know people who have siblings who are spoiled. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's like that's something that I've always hated, and I used to get super offended when I was younger
Mhm.
and mad about it. Now it's just like I'll just be like, that's not a
Yeah.
thing. But it's interesting when the dynamic shifts to being like an adult because now
Mhm.
my mom would be like, I feel like because we've talked about it. She's like, we didn't spoil you when you was a kid, but we spoil you now because you can appreciate it. Because I do feel like now
Mhm.
I am spoiled.
Yeah, listen, I was gonna say the
I will
same
take
thing.
a parental. I'm 42. Please spoil me. Hello,
I
I don't
would
care.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like my aunt was laughing because I called my dad about something. I guess I was on speaker or something like that, and I asked him to do something that I could well do. I can clearly do. Like it was no reason why I could not do it, but I wanted
Hmm.
my dad to do it. So I
Yeah.
asked him and he's like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll do it." I said, "Okay, thank you." And he's like, "You're welcome." And then my aunt said, "Did she just ask you to do?" And I really forgot what it was, something really small. And she was like, "Did she really just ask you to do that?" And he's like, "Yeah." Mom was like, "Oh, don't get twisted. My kids are spoiled." She's like, "My girls are spoiled." And I was like, "We really are." Like I used to think that my little sister was spoiled. I think she was spoiled longer than me. I think I just got on the spoiled bus, but whatever. We'll
Hmm.
argue about that later.
No matter what
Um,
time you get on the bus, it's nice to be
hello.
on it.
I'm on the bus though. Like I'm on it. Like and we all are like me and all my siblings, we're all on that same bus and we would gladly sit there and be like, we are. We're not spoiled brats because my parents don't play that.
Yeah,
That's not
that's
happening.
different.
Right.
Okay.
That's different. But we are spoiled. And I think we clearly was spoiled when we were younger too. Like there were things that I'm sure my dad be like, okay, yeah, they want this, we'll do it. Like, so yeah, but I was gonna say that that's funny because people say that only kids are spoiled, but then there'd be like a whole group of siblings, like my family that's spoiled too, and just be like, we be
Yeah.
quiet, okay, whatever,
Yeah, because like
okay,
I don't think that people understand, like especially like, and I think it depends on how you grew up too. It's like I was forced to be super independent. That's
mm-hmm,
why I'm staunchly independent to this day,
mm-hmm,
and I'm having to work through that because it's like, okay, like I ain't got, it's literally just me.
yeah,
And the other part of it is too, it's like sometimes, like especially with like me and the journey that I'm on with my healing, it's like I be doubting myself. I'm like, did that really happen? And it's like in my head, I'm like, dude, if I had somebody that was there besides my parents, that could be like, no, that
yeah,
was real. That was real. Yeah,
yeah,
that happened. That was real foul. Like, so it's
yeah,
just like I have to trust that like what I remember is what happened. Because
mm-hmm,
especially because there's things that I brought up and my mom was like, I said that. I'm like, yes.
mm-hmm,
Or my dad be like, oh, I did. Yes.
mm-hmm,
Because the other part of it that sucks that I'm starting to really, really think about now is as my parents are getting older, especially
mm-hmm,
with my dad. And it's just like somehow I have to figure out how to do this.
right,
It's just me to it's not bad right now, but it's like it's making me think, okay, you need to start really planning for things and seeing how like if at any point like my parents need like care or something like that, like it's
mm-hmm,
on the parents on me. Now I have friends that definitely like are supportive and would help me,
yeah,
but it's still like my parents.
mm-hmm,
These ain't their parents. They're
yeah,
gonna help me when they can, but it's like this is gonna be on me. And so
yeah,
that to me, that's something I didn't think about because I didn't think about it until like the last couple years.
mm-hmm,
Because I'm like, I got to adulthood and I'm like, it's fine, I'm good. And then you don't think about that until I'm like, wait a minute, this gonna be all on me at some point.
yeah,
I don't
mm-hmm,
have the support that I would hope to have had with like siblings. It's like this is all me, all my responsibility, and that's something that I don't think that people think about when they're
Mhm.
talking about only children. It's like you may talk about this little person, this child, this teenager, whatever, but you're not thinking about the future for them.
Right.
Especially if you have both parents in your life. You're not thinking about, "Oh, dang, like, they're gonna" it's always a negative thing about, "Oh, y'all are just spoiled," but it's like you're not thinking about, "Oh, dang, they're gonna have to do all that by themselves if their parents are not as healthy,"
Mhm. Right.
and stuff, and so it's just kinda like that's I don't wanna call it a burden, but it is a burden. It is a heavy burden, and it's something that I have to consider and I have to think about as I'm, like, navigating new different stages in my life. I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out."
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do research. I'm gonna have to talk to people that I know that have like going through certain things to see, okay, how did you do this? How did you plan for this? How did you, because it gets real.
Mhm.
And not to say that somebody with siblings couldn't have the same feeling, especially if the rest of the siblings are just trash because they're not
Mhm.
close or whatever. So it's like it could happen on any side, but it's like just speaking from the only child side, it's like, this is all on me.
Yeah.
Lord help.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely hope that if that time comes, that you definitely have like that ample support. So, because I know that yeah, that sounds hard. I don't even want to think about that at all.
Yeah. And I don't like thinking about it either, but it's like I'm starting to think about it a bit more.
Mhm.
It's like I feel like, okay, it seems like I have time, but even if I did have time, I still need to be thinking about things and planning things so that like when times if the time does come, it's like I'm ready and I'm not like scrambling
Right.
because I thought ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's like you said, that's really important thing about, and it's first of all, it's smart of you to be thinking about that because myself in delusional land, I don't think about that. So, but we are going to slide over to some. I have a question because I know even though we talk about there is a burden of being an only child, and there is,
Mhm,
there's stuff that real serious stuff that you have to think about as the only child. But
mhm.
for real, what did you enjoy about being the only child though? If anything, I know it wasn't all like I hate this. This sucks.
I enjoyed my imagination because when I tell you I had girl, when I tell you I had a whole like this this is gonna sound real crazy, but I don't care. It's my life. I had a whole imaginary clique, okay? I had a whole imaginary clique, okay, at home. I did so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed, like, the fact that my imagination, like, went different places, and I would, like
Mm,
I still have pieces of that, and
yeah.
I'm like, "That's the energy you need to put into writing your book, ma'am." But
Right.
it's like, my imagination was so, like, vast, like, coming up with stuff in my head, it was so funny. Um, but I think too, just even though as a kid I kind of complained about it, I did enjoy the solitude
Hmm. Yeah.
of like just being able to just be at home or being able to, especially when I was at home, like being able to just be in my little space, when I did have a space.
Hmm.
And I think as I do, this is the other thing. I do like the fact that it forced me to be independent.
Hmm.
That it forced me, like, if you want something, you gotta go for it, fam.
Right.
Like, you can't just if you wanna go here or if you wanna do that, you gotta go for it.
Hmm.
I also like the okay, so it's interesting because I think it's just, like, how my dad was. I did like the dynamic of, like, my dad's rule was, like, you can go anywhere you wanna go as long as you have the way there and the way back. So, basically, we ain't picking you up, we ain't taking you, but you can go. And it's just interesting. I have to say this. It's just interesting to see the difference in my dad now
Hmm.
because if I go somewhere by myself, like, okay, so there's this beach town called Monterey, and so I'll go by myself sometimes, and he'll be like so concerned about me going. In my head, I'm like, you was the one that was telling me I can go anywhere I wanted to go
Right.
as long as I had a way there and a way back. I am
Yeah.
my way there and I am my way back. And he's concerned. I'm like, my, like little Teresa be like, I'm so confused. Like, is this the same person?
That's
I
hilarious.
definitely, because I like solitude now. So I'm like, okay, I did enjoy the solitude. I did enjoy allowing my imagination to just run wild. And I did enjoy just being at home listening to music. That's when I fell in love with R&B and B and stuff. And so it's just kinda like trying to think of anything else that I can think of that stands out. Looking back, in a way, I did like being the different one because
Mhm,
when you're an only child, like, it feels as if you're considered different. It's like, "Oh, she doesn't have any siblings, da, da, da."
mhm.
She liked being different than everybody else, and
Yeah.
I literally stand on that to this day. I'll be like, if it's I can be very anti, so if it's something that everybody likes, I'm like, "I don't like that," just
Mhm,
on purpose, just to be different.
mhm.
But I think looking back, I did enjoy, like, not being like everybody else in that,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, that's all I can think of right now.
Okay.
As an adult, whew, child, it is amazing. Like, I know people that have difficult relationships with their siblings
Mhm.
and stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, I am glad that I don't have that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that, even though there's other sides to just being the only I am glad that I don't have to deal with that." And I'm glad that, like, I feel like it also gave me courage because
Mhm.
if I wanna do something, I just gotta go do it.
Right.
If I wanna go somewhere, if I wanna experience something, not that I don't have friends, I have a good amount of friends, I have great friends, but I can find myself like I mentioned in the last episode, I'm in this habit of just getting up and going.
Mhm.
I like that it gave me the courage to, like, just if you wanna do something, just do it instead of, like, living in fear. It's just like, "No, just go outside your house and just go."
Yeah. Do you think that it was easier for you to make friends because you were only child, or was that harder?
I would say it made me desperate for friends
Oh, okay.
because sometimes like, okay, so there's a couple things because my parents be like, "Girl, everybody ain't your friend." But I'd be like, "They are my friend." You know, you're a kid, you think everybody your friend, and then you realize,
Yeah.
okay, no, these hoes ain't my friends. But it's like I feel like in some ways it made me desperate because I wanted that like age group attention and affection and hanging out, like,
Mhm.
I wanted that. So I feel like it made me desperate for friends, which wasn't the best thing for me either.
Right.
And so, like, I think for me, one of the things is I overestimated
Mhm.
my worth or my value in a friendship.
Okay.
Like, I'm thinking we're cool, and then push comes to shove, I'm like, "Oh, we're not okay."
Yeah.
And so I think it made me desperate because I didn't really have anybody in my age group unless it was, like, either my church friends or my school friends.
Mhm.
I feel like it caused me to, like, almost like, I need friends," instead of just like, "If you wanna be my friend, you can be my friend." That's how I am now, it's like, you don't have to be my friend. I am
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
but I think as a kid, it was just like, I kinda felt like I was desperate for friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you have Okay, so in terms of your sibling dynamic, do you feel like you have a close relationship with some siblings and not so close with others? Or is it just like, does it vary? Do you have like seasons where you're close to this sibling and then you're close to another sibling? Like, what's your
Well,
thing?
I am the family manager, so I'm close with everybody.
Okay.
Um, so there was a season, I won't say that we weren't close, we just weren't as connected only because we lived in so many different places. Like, I think at one point my two younger siblings were both in college. I was at home, and then my older brother, he was in New York, so we all just weren't as like physically connected. So that would
Mhm.
then sometimes we'd be like forget to hit you like, "Oh, you know what? I haven't heard from so and so in a couple of," and I'm like, "Oh, crap, let me call them." So we had like seasons where we just weren't all there, but
Mhm.
I think we are all very close, especially now. Like we probably talk in some type of way every day. So and then, but also with me being like the family manager, I'm also a family stalker. So like, I need to know where everybody is. What are we doing? Why are you on that street? So like, thank God for Apple and location trackers, because I will absolutely call you and ask you where are you and why are you on that street, and what are you doing there? Like, I feel like sometimes if you would ask my older brother, he probably feels like he's the younger brother because I will call him and be like, "Hello, hi, why are you on this street? What are you doing?" And he'll be like, "How do you even know I'm here?" And I'm like, "What kind of question is that?" And then he'll be like, "Oh yeah, you got my location." He's like, "Dang, I mean, I'm at work." "Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye." And, like, that's really what I call for. So, anyway, that's all I feel like to say, like, we are close, but that's also me, making sure that I'm also a family manager, so yeah, I don't have a choice, like, sorry, we're here. Um, but I will say it did not come easy. That took work. Like us being close,
Mm,
period, took work. Like we
right.
had all, not all siblings, most siblings, we had periods where we couldn't stand each other. Like if I
Mhm,
could be an only child, that would be a great idea right now, but it's not
mhm.
possible. So like
Yeah,
we had those periods. Those were mainly when we were younger because,
mhm. Yeah,
everybody has that, like, you're mad about something stupid, like, they do something, like, you're just chewing too loud, I wanna punch you in the throat, like, it's just anything we just weren't.
yeah,
Then you going through, like, puberty and hormones
yeah.
and everything makes you angry or makes you wanna cry, and it was just, it was a whole thing. So we had periods we were not close. But thankfully, when we got older, we were able to, like, kinda, like, regroup and get it together and realize that we were just crazy children. Um,
Yeah.
and then also, I will say, even though we could be fighting each other, but nobody else was allowed to come in and try and fight us.
So I feel
Nobody
that,
else
yeah.
was allowed to, like, come in and make fun of my siblings, like, that wasn't a thing. You couldn't do that. I don't care what I just said. Like, I don't care that I just said, "I wanna punch you in the throat." You're not gonna come up and say that. Are you delusional? Like, that's not happening.
Yeah, are you a part of this family? Then
Right.
shush.
Right, shut up. Like, even to the extent of, like, other family, like, if we had, like, our cousins, like, "Oh, nah, you can't.
Mhm.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
no. We don't do that. We don't do that over here. Go sit down." But so even now, like, we're very protective of each other, like so we are close now, we weren't always close, that took work. I think college definitely helped, like, those years of college, because there were separations, and you realize, like, "Oh, I miss my brother, I miss my sister," and then you kinda, like
Yeah.
this, you kinda connect or whatever. Um, and then I know my parents probably obviously had something to do with us being close, but they also didn't enforce it. Like it also was like this is your sibling. Like you gotta
Mhm.
chill. This is not a
Yeah.
person on the street. Like we weren't allowed to just treat each other any type of way just because we were mad. You know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think that was important too. My parents definitely had something to do with that as well.
Something I thought about that came to my mind, I used to go to my grandma's house like, a lot.
Hmm.
That was fun for me.
Yeah. Oh,
That
I
was
couldn't
fun.
stand going to my grandmother's house.
Girl, I
Child,
love going to my grandma's house.
I wish I loved it now because, this particular grandma that I'm talking about is gone. So, like, my
Mhm.
other grandma, we would go to her house, the one who lives down here, we would go to her house during the summer. So that was fun 'cause, like, summer vacation or whatever, and my parents
Mhm.
didn't leave us. My grandma lives in New York that passed away, my mom's mom. We would go there and sleep over because they had something to do. Like they had some church something that or they had like a couples retreat or
Mhm.
when they would be leaving us and I'd be like, "This is trash. Why are we here?" And my grandma was stuck back in like the day, okay? She still had plastic coverings on her couch. She didn't
Of
have a
course.
TV in the thing. Like there were just so many things that were not fun for a child that we had to do because they had to go on a couples retreat. We was mad. But now I wish that I found it fun because my core
Yeah.
memory is being like, could they just come back and get us? Like, and mind you, it probably be like a night. It wasn't even that long, but we were dramatic.
Girl, I would I enjoyed it. It was fun. And
That's
it's
good.
interesting because you mentioned how, like, your mom was just like, "Oh, I'm tired." I've seen that with my grandmother because she had certain rules. Like, okay, one of the things, the room that had the plastic on the couch was living room. We could not play in the living room, right?
Mhm.
Girl, now ain't no plastic on that thing, and, like, the younger cousins, they can run off doing. I was like, "Nana, what happened?
You
Ma'am?"
get disappointed. You were like, what
Be
happened?
upset. That is not fair because I still can't do that. No. I'm just
But
like,
not
"What
you.
is happening? What in the
That's
world?"
hilarious.
So being the family manager,
Mhm.
I am the family manager.
Mhm.
I need to, like, outsource and hire somebody else because these people I'm the family manager, I am the resident IT. If you want me to manage, because this is my thing, this is my thing, I know I have it in me, but I try not to be like this. I can be a dictator, you're gonna do what the hell I said to do.
Oh my
But
gosh.
you're my parents, so I'm trying to be, like, respectful, but it's like, because I'll have the moments where I'm like, I'll call one of them, I'm like, I literally will say to myself, "I'm the only child they have. Why are they not answering my call? It is just me. You got one child, and y'all ain't answering my phone.
Right.
Excuse me? Yeah, girl. That's the other thing about being an only child. I am the resident IT. I am the resident, like, well, do you know about this? No. There is a search engine called Google.
They don't care.
You can Google it,
They do not
but
care.
I have to Google it for you. I'm
Yes.
confused. What's happening?
Yes.
Yeah, people that have smartphones that maybe we shouldn't have got people a smartphone because it's like, oh my gosh, that's not that's not how you no, that's not true. It's because it comes up on your YouTube thing does not mean it's true.
Right.
Did you hear about this?
Mm.
No, that's not true. People just make up stuff.
That's funny. I feel like with this particular topic, though, we can probably go on and on and on. So
Mhm.
this may be like another sibling or lack of thereof dynamic part two at some point. Because I just feel
There's so
like
much
we
more.
have so much to say that
Mhm.
we can say, and then we could probably go real deep about it, like real, like real
Mhm.
almost like therapy type deep. So maybe one day we'll do that.
Yeah.
Um, but for now, we are going to end this episode with some final words of wisdom. And my final words of wisdom would be if it's not traumatic, reach out to your siblings. Even if it is just to say, hey, I was thinking about you. If they have not caused you any trauma, if you have not experienced trauma at the hands of them, because I want to be very clear, I know people
Yeah.
say, but they're gonna water that your sibling. Yeah, yes, they are gonna be your sibling. They are your sibling. That is very true.
Yeah.
But if they have not caused you trauma or you have not experienced trauma at the hands of them and it's just like, I don't like them, just reach out and say, hey, and see what happens. What about yours, Rita?
I would just say just, you know, enjoy life and live. Don't be down in the dumps because it's just you. Like you can still have a full life. And I also think too, like making sure that you have real solid friendships
Mhm,
because that's gonna be what partially is gonna sustain you just throughout life. So build solid friendships and just do stuff. Don't let the fact that, oh, it's just me, I'll just stay in. No, get your butt up, take a shower, and go.
mhm,
Don't let the fact that it's just you, especially if like you're like me and you're a single and only child, just still go out there, live life.
mhm.
Don't let that stop you. And
Yeah.
even if like you are married or have a partner, still do stuff for yourself because one of the things I've realized that alone time I still very much need it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So get out there, okay? Have fun.
Yeah. And we thank y'all for listening. You can reach
Yeah.
me at Deandra.Monique. And you can reach the podcast at Coffee Hills Convo Pod. Retha.
You can reach me at Read the Author on Instagram. And please, again, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We definitely want to hear from you. So please comment wherever you're listening. If you're watching on YouTube, comment there. Like we really want to engage. We really want to grow. So please, all that good stuff, rate, review, everything. Okay.
And we love y'all. We'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.